got us another hit. Yep.
Cities to remove decorative grass amid drought. A group of 30 agencies that supply water to homes and businesses throughout the western United States has pledged to rip up lots of decorative grass to help keep water in the overtapped Colorado River. I had been mentioning this for the longest time, the way that they do these landscapes, and a lot of these grasses aren't even, they're not even local. Like they're from other places. They'll be like German. If they're invasive species, they're useless. They just suck up water, and it's really kind of dumb. But they're having no choice but to do things differently with this, because this headline right here, it says momentous U.S. advances large dam demolition in history. It says, this is Portland, Oregon, AP. U.S. regulators approved a plan Thursday to demolish 4 dams on a California river and open up hundreds of miles of salmon habitat. That will be the largest dam removal and river restoration project in the world when it goes forward. Really hope they do this. We were talking about the dams earlier. So, like, okay, so this article is saying Western cities to remove grass amid drought. So, Western United States. So then in this one is saying California and the dams. So it's like that these two stories go together. Um, because they're having trouble with the drought, and like we were saying in the other video, I think that it's a lot to do with how we are handling this stuff is the reason why it's this way. And these are two examples of them going at it differently, because they clearly, they can't keep saying, that it's just the climate change and it don't have nothing to do with how they're dealing with things.
Well, I think that a lot of people are, of course not everybody, but there's a lot of people who's paying a lot more attention to this whole thing, because it's a it's really a worldwide conversation. And because shoot, there's some horrific stuff happening in other places in the world. I think we still have it good compared to some other places, but if we're not careful, we could really be at our own detriment. So like I like hearing stuff like this, but just blaming it on this boogeyman called climate change. Well, like, I need y'all to understand that climate change is a normal process, and there's global warming and there will be global cooling, like, throughout time, as this planet continues to revolve, circle around. you know the sun is moving around the earth, and the moon is moving water, and like all these things that's happening on a day-to-day, second-to-second process. Like, this is just something that's just happening. It's not like some just thing that's just out of the blue that the world has never seen before. It's not. So there
Yeah.
are
So
things, yeah, there's changes that we can make, and we just need to find out, where we're going to be the most impactful, and let's do it.
and I think that the construction, the way cities, all of that stuff is what the kind of stuff that we need to look at. And it's really just about nature and letting nature do its thing. So instead of us disrupting it all different kinds of ways, being selfish.
Yeah,
Let me.
and I just want to also, because one of the things that hurt me the most is how they were cutting up the Amazon. Like, the Amazon provides so much to the world, not just South America, North America. Like, no, the entire world, the ecosystem of the world was dependent on what was happening in the Amazon, the rainforest, and they've been cutting it down. Like, that was like a straight, like, an attack on God. So, like, we gotta be careful. Like, we need to take advantage of Arbor Day and start growing more trees wherever we can, whether they be fruit or nuts or just something that provides more oxygen to the world. But we got to do something, and can't sit on our thumbs or sit on our hands and just think that these things are just gonna fix itself.
Yep. Let me
Most
read
of
some
it,
of
most
this.
of it, we messed up.
Yep. Let me read this. It says the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission unanimously vote on the Lower Klamath River dams as the last major regulatory hurdle and the biggest milestone for a 500 million demolition proposal championed by Native American tribes and environmentalists for years. The project will return the lower half of California's second largest river to a free-flowing state for the first time in more than a century. Native tribes that rely on Klamath River and its salmon for their way of life have been a driving force behind bringing the dams down in a wild and remote area that spans the California and Oregon border. Barring any unforeseen complications, Oregon, California, and the entity formed to oversee the project will accept the license transfer and could begin dam removal as early as the summer, proponents said. I think a lot of these dams need to come down. It says the Klamath salmon are coming home, URC Chairman Joseph James said after the vote. The people have earned this victory, and with it, we carry on our sacred duty to the fish that have sustained our people since the beginning of time. It says the dams produce less than 2% of Pacific Corp's power generation, enough to power about 70,000 homes when they are running at full capacity, said Bob Gravely, spokesman for the utility. But they often run at far lower capacity because of low water in the river and other issues. And the agreement that paved the way for Thursday's vote was ultimately a business decision, he said. Okay, now this makes sense. Now that makes a lot of sense. So it's not like they're really trying to beat, they're all like, oh, we want to give the salmon to back to the Native Americans, and oh, we want the water to flow freely, because it's a drought and all of that. So no, it's not that. They're not, it's not producing because the water is so low. It's probably costing them money to run the dam. It says 2%, less than 2% of power generation. It says, and that's enough to power 70,000 homes when running at full capacity. So it says, and it's been running way lower. So they're not making no money. So this demolition project is probably some money right here. Like, you know what? We can make some money off of tearing it down. Yeah, let's do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that at some point, maybe people would do things. I mean, for whatever reason, I think that a lot of what happens is for the greater good, whether people realize it for themselves or not. But, um, it would be good to see somebody actually trying to do something that's going to benefit their fellow man instead of what's going to benefit their pockets. But
Telling you.
it is what it is, bro. Like, I mean, look, I mean, maybe they're helping people and putting money in their pocket at the same time. I just,
Yeah. Hopefully that's the case. Because that's the win-win for everybody. Let me read
yeah.
some more. It says Pacific Core would have had to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in fish ladders, fish screens, and other conservation upgrades under environmental regulations that were not in place when the aging dams were first built. But with the deal approved Thursday, the utility cost is capped at 200 million and another at 250 million from a California voter approved water bond. So there goes another reason. So it's costing them money to, because they're all like, oh, y'all got to do something about the fish. And then they do something about the fish and they're like, man, this shit is costing us money, bro. We're not trying to do that.
Yeah.
Let me read some more. It says, we're closing coal plants and building wind farms, and it all just has to add up in the end. It's not a one-to-one, he said of the coming dam demolition. You can make up that power by the way you operate the rest of your facilities or having energy efficient savings so your customers are using less. Mm. Let me read some more. It says approval of the order to surrender the dam's operating license is the bedrock of the most ambitious salmon restoration plan in history and the project scope. Measured by the number of dams and the amount of river habitat that would reopen to salmon, makes it the largest if of its kind in the world, said Amy Sowers Kobar, spokesman for American Rivers, which monitors dam removals in Africa.
Yeah. Just woke up.
Restoration. Right here it says, fenced in, how the global rise of border walls is stifling wildlife.